Arsenal is taking on Tottenham Hotspur today, 19:30 hours. That's when the game of football is going to be played in there at the stadium known as the Emirates in there. And that is what you're going to be discussing about. But most importantly, we have a story that I haven't gone ahead to confirm. But it's news on the street. And we are relating it to what Mikel Arteta had to say on Friday in his pre-match press conference ahead of this Northern London derby. Rokani David it is, and here we come in pace to bring you these stories that are really making headlines. You know, we rarely come to really talk about games in such a circumstance, but I want to let you know that this is really one of those that we need to obviously come up and really address hugely about. Go into the lower right bottom corner, smash the black button that has the word subscribe. After smashing it, hit the notification bell that will enable you get notified every time I upload a video onto a beautiful YouTube channel in there. Remember, I want to hit 30,000 subscribers. Now, Mikel Arteta came out and had to respond to what we call a question about Arsenal's long-term absentees. This is what he said. We've put in a lot of effort during the international break with all the medical staff as well to try to bring them as quickly as possible. Tomorrow, we have another training. He said this on Friday, meaning that tomorrow he meant yesterday, which was a Saturday. We have another training session. See how some of them are feeling. Whether it's a bit too close for this game or we feel that they can contribute to the game. So tomorrow we have more clarity. So he said that, and then they asked him another question on if some of them could be in the squad. He said, hopefully that we can make another step tomorrow, but I certainly cannot say. Now, these are what we call mind games. And obviously, if you're Thomas Frank, the manager of Spurs, this is the news that you wouldn't like to get. All you would want to get is that all the players, apart from Gabriel Jesus, that are really injured, are really out. You know? Noni Madueke, Martinelli Gabriel, Gyokeres, Noni Madueke, Kai Havertz. You understand? That's the news you would want to get, that all those players are really injured. You'd want them to be in the same shell like Gabriel Magalhaes, because you all know to it that he will be out for close to 2 months. You understand? So that's all about Arsenal. And these mind games really play a lot of trickeries in such games. And you'll find out that the club of Arsenal is really looking good in such a game. Remember, all what they lacked very many forwards. Arsenal had close to 6-7 forwards injured, and they really looked shite when it came to them trying to obviously put out a very good coercive attacking set. You understand? Now, stories coming in through from the club of Arsenal indicate that yesterday in training, Gyokeres, Noni Madueke, Gabriel Martinelli, and Martin Odegaard were seen in the training session of Arsenal. You understand? That they were seen training with the club of Arsenal. And it resonates well with what the manager told us, that these players are obviously going to be coming in through to do the needful to train, some of them, and he cannot quantify whether these players will obviously be available for picks when the club of Arsenal is playing Spursy, that is today. Now, let's paint a narrative and a clean canvas that these players are obviously going to be available. You understand? Let's paint that narrative and see what will obviously come out. Now, if these players come in and train with the club of Arsenal, they have a 10% chance of getting to the starting 11 of Arsenal. But they have a 90% chance of coming off the bench to effect this North London derby game. You understand? And even if out of the 4 that trained, they have Jesus, Odegaard, and Gyokeres back, all Noni Madueke. 3 of those will really do a very beautiful improvement into what Arsenal can get off the bench to change this beautiful game of football that is going to be played in North London today. So, as it stands, I want to confirm to you, that we have to see some other players showing up today. That is it. It's a must, Gabriel Jesus, for me, I know he'll make the bench. He won't make the starting 11, but we might see some or two. And in the next 4 hours from now, right, when the players are really arriving, 3 hours, we're obviously going to see a face that will be amongst these ones that really trained yesterday and ready to do the needful. And the manager hinted that they really did a lot to say if these players really he really did a lot to say that these players did a lot during the international break, right? So that is it. Now, these players coming in through is really very important. Why? The side of Arsenal needs these 3 points badly. Yesterday, the two teams that are really competing with Arsenal on the trophy, that is Man City and Liverpool, lost to Newcastle and Nottingham Forest respectively. Newcastle beat Man City by 2-1, and then Liverpool was beaten by 3-0 by Nottingham Forest, moreover, at Anfield. You understand? So, if these players really return and make it to the bench, I tell you, it's going to be a different narrative altogether. You get? Spurs is really having huge injuries, and though Mohamed Kudus is back, but you cannot guarantee that he'll obviously turn around everything. So we wait and see how that pans out. But the club of Arsenal is really having a very huge boost amongst the players that are set to obviously take part into this North London derby. Gyokeres, seen in training with Arsenal in there. Kai Havertz, the same. Noni Madueke, the same. And Martin Odegaard. I came up and really gave you a story about Martin Odegaard that he is expected to be fully fit to play into this beautiful game of football. So, with due respect, I want to let you know that it's really going to be another heated up affair. And charge your phones and charge your gadgets that you're going to use to watch this game of football, because it's going to be a highly competitive North London derby, and it's going to be the first of the kind. It's going to be the first of the kind that Harry Kane and Son Heung-min won't participate in. You understand? So, that's exactly what we are all about in here, and we had to obviously bring you this story in there. But all in all, Arteta is really a man who looks like has every chance to lift the league. And the chances of Arsenal to win the league of this season are really unmatched because of the scenarios that are really coming in through. I told you in the match preview that for all those 3 seasons that we saw Arsenal compete with Man City and they went head-to-head to win the trophy, things that Arsenal had to do to obviously put themselves into a position of really being triumphant in the league are things that Man City did. And Arsenal always did the opposite. And that same scenario is getting back onto the positive cards of the club of Arsenal, meaning that Arsenal is ticking every box that it's required for them to win a trophy. One, most of the games they really dropped points in last season, they've gone ahead to obviously collect maximum points from them. Arsenal is keeping clean sheets for fun. Arsenal is having close to 7 players injured they had 7 players injured in Jesus, Gyokeres, Kai Havertz, Noni Madueke, Martinelli. Who else? They really had close to 6-7 players injured, and they went on to really collect very many points to keep them on top of the table. And there is a time that Arsenal will have these players available, and you'll see to it that and obviously stretch to winning close to 10-15 games. And that's what you need from February to May to lift the Premier League trophy. So guys, thank you very much for watching through. Tell me your thoughts about these players that are rumored to have trained and most likely to show up into this North London derby. Rokani David remains my name. Continue to subscribe. This is the Rokani Media Football. And thank you for obviously watching in through. I sign out for now. See you later and enjoy your Sunday. We are going to the North London derby. United is playing on Monday. We out.